Okay, so if you have something like XAMPP, which I've got installed, and it's right here, it's on my D drive XAMPP under HTT docs. We already looked at where the Java stuff goes. It goes under Tomcat, and we're going to come back to that. Everything else, pretty much that's a web page, goes under HT docs under XAMPP, and you can create a directory here for each one of your examples. So I think Friends was actually a fairly fully functioning, almost Facebook-like application, but I'm going to leave that alone for now. Right now, I think what I'll do is I'll create another directory. And here's a new folder. I'll just call it File Manager. It's called File Manager. Let's just call something simple. Easier. It's called File Man. Okay. So now the next thing I need to do is I need to bring those files down. If you go to my website, there's a couple of places you can download them from. You can download them from right here, actually. It's a zip file. It's opening it with a window. We could do that. We'll just open it directly. We just need these 3 files, I believe. So all I really need to do, I can probably highlight all 3 and copy them. And go into that new directory I created, paste them. And I believe all I really need to do is then go into my browser somewhere. Here. It's localhost, and I call this fileman files.php. Now, let's see if this works right off the bat. It does. There's one of the files that I uploaded last week. It's got 417. So this PHP version is pointing to exactly the same database as the Java one. So let's look at code. Look at files for starters. And we'll look at it. If we were to compare this to the code here for the Java ones, let's see where we at. Projects, and that's it right there. I didn't know if that was protected. Well, nothing there. Look in recent files. Which is this one. Okay. So if we look at the Java one compared to the PHP one, let's move a little bit. And it's actually not a lot more coding, but this can definitely be simplified. We can actually also simplify the PHP one as well using a database base class. Most of the stuff that's going on here is everything that needs to connect to the MySQL database and everything that's going on. So there are similarities between the 2 languages. PHP is what they call a scripting language versus Java, which is a compile language. So generally tends to be that scripting languages are easier than compiled languages, but they generally are not as fast or scalable. So we'll look at a couple of things here and how we can make them both a little simpler, down to where they're really no longer, there's no real clear advantages in them. So, so look at this. In the Java example, you're creating a URL just like you are here. And we're storing the select statement in a string. Now, we don't declare strings in PHP. Is there problems with my voice again? Can people hear me? Okay. and I'll try and keep an eye on that. All right. So yeah, so we don't have to declare a variable, but in PHP, all variables start with a $sign. So there's sort of an implicit declaration of the variables. And then they both have there's a few more extra lines in Java to get the connection and the parameters. This step is sort of almost the equivalent of getting the parameter and seeing if it's null or not. Just like we're checking to see if the delete file is there, we're doing the same thing down here with this is set. And if it is, then we go ahead and we delete it using a SQL statement and a delete command. We're doing it with one line in Java, and we probably could have done it with one line in PHP as well. And then in both cases, we use a while loop to essentially generate a table. One of the big differences you're going to see here is that there's a little bit more in finishing things up, which can be streamlined. Yeah, we're going to. Now, if we were to also look at the, what else do we use this for? The upload file is another one for uploading a file. Again, we can see actually quite a bit in the case of Java to do that. But in the case of PHP, actually much simpler, very short. Checks to see if there are files passed in. PHP automatically puts all your files into an array for you. So it does some nice things for you. You can open the file and read from it and then close the file. This just handles any quoting issues between operating systems. This adds slashes to give the file name a complete file name. And again, we're connecting to our database. We're preparing an insert statement, which I believe we were also doing in the Java version right here. All the connections and stuff. Then, and again, finding all the variables. This is kind of how you do it in PHP, and in Java, that's what all these set strings are doing. Right? Except for set bytes, which is actually the actual bytes of the file. And then finally, we execute the prepared statement, which is also what we do in Java. Now, one of the reasons that the Java is a lot longer is because it's using a while loop to go through every parameter and check and see if it's a parameter or just a file. And in the PHP version, though, we're only assuming one single file. Actually, if the PHP version were assuming multiple files, we'd have to create a loop here. So one of the reasons it's shorter is because it's not as functional. But part of it is also that Java does make you do more stuff, which can be streamlined when you look at that. Okay, the download, which is, I think, if I remember correctly, we were using a servlet to do the download in Java. Which is this guy. And in PHP, yeah, it's fairly simple. I mean, we get the file ID, and we do a query based on the file ID, connect to the database, prepare that statement, set the file ID, and execute it. Then we go ahead and try and fetch it. And we fetch all the data. And we set the output type in this header stuff, and then we just got to print the data we got. So if we look at Java, it's definitely more involved in that. It's object oriented, so it says response.set content type which is essentially what we're doing with these three headers here. Java only needs two commands to set the application and the content type. And then it creates an output stream, and it uses a while loop here to write all the bytes out. So that's essentially the Java version. Any questions so far? We're going to see it work again. It's going to function exactly the same as the Java one. So we'll see how it works. So any questions on this one?